What's up, you guys? What is happening? Bobby Borg, Professor Bobby Borg, also known as Coach for Office Hours. And today we're talking about marketing. We're going to complete our conversation, or I should say, we should continue our conversation on strategy from the other previous sections that we've been working on. So the previous section was number 7, and before that was episode 4. So if you guys want, go back to episode 4 and go back to episode 7 to catch the earlier phases of the marketing process. So what we're doing right now is we're continuing our conversation, not completing, continuing our conversation. So welcome everybody. Ben Gower, what's happening? All right, so if you want, Ben, be sure to leave some messages or some notes, and I'll answer some questions. But today, what we're talking about again is the marketing process, and I'm going to continue with what's called the product and service development plan. And this is a very important part of the marketing process because earlier what we spoke about is we spoke about branding, okay? And now we're talking about product development. So what is the difference? So the difference is that the branding is almost like this idea of things. It's this identity or image in our minds of what we want our products and services to be. And then the product and service development plan is like, okay, so how are we going to do this now? How are we going to get it built, so to speak, okay? And the two are very, very important, obviously, because, you know, our products and services are the main stars of the show. They are what monetize. They are what brings in money for us, okay? So that's why this is a very, very important topic. So when we're talking about product and development, what we're talking about is initially our main products. And in the music industry, our main products are our recordings, right? So our songs, and it doesn't matter whether or not they're vinyls, CDs, or, you know, it doesn't matter whether or not we release them as albums or we release them as singles or whatever. That's part of your branding strategy. Now we're making it. We're writing the songs. We're recording the songs. We're producing the songs, right? And also we're talking about our live performance sets, and we're also talking about our merchandising. These are our 3 main products in the music industry. So that's what our focus is going to be on today, okay? So the first thing is how are we going to get, you know, so the first thing is obviously is, you know, let's go back and review some of our earlier research. This is very, very important. So let's go back and look at our vision. What's our vision? Now, this is extremely important because when you create your products, you need to make sure that you retain your vision. And you guys, let me tell you how many times people mess this up. They get the wrong producers, they get the wrong co-writers, they get the wrong musicians, and their vision gets clouded. So you have to retain your vision while you're actually creating your products. The other thing that you have to think about is you also have to think about your customers, okay? There's an airplane. Woo! We are live. We are live. Actually, that's a helicopter, police helicopter. All right, in any case, now you also have to make sure that you think about your customers. Now, a lot of artists are going to say, don't think about your customers, just create your products and write for yourself and don't care about what your customers think. And I don't know you guys, man. Listen, I'm a musician at heart. I've been doing this my whole entire life. And I got to tell you, it sucks eating top ramen. It sucks starving. It sucks not being able to pay your rent and sleeping in rehearsal rooms and stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but, you know, I wanted to be able to do my art, but also for it to be reciprocated and for people to actually listen to it and buy it and come to my shows. And I'm not just going to write stuff that makes me happy and nobody cares about. So I do care about my customers, and I do want to know what they would like, right? And then as long as you always retain your artistic vision, though, and you don't give that up, you don't sell out, you buy in. Okay, remember that. You also need to look at your competitors. You need to look at what your competitors are doing so that you create products and services that are unique from them. You don't want to just, you know, do the same thing everyone else is doing. You know, you want to remember what your goals are. Like, what are we trying to achieve in this next year? That's an important part when you create your products and services. And you always have to remember your brand. Your products and services need to stay on point with your brand and who you are and what messages you're trying to keep, okay? So now that we have that, let's just talk a little bit about, let's go ahead and talk about the production of our products. Let's get right to that. All right, so the production of our products, the first thing is obviously, how are we gonna do this with regards to our recording? Are we going to collaborate with people? Are we going to collab and co-write with people? Co-writing could be very, very useful, not just because you're borrowing the expertise of others, but because you're borrowing the equity of their brand. If someone is a little bit more popular than you and now is co-writing with you, immediately that puts you in a different place, okay? How about doing covers? Doing a cover song on your finished recording can be very, very useful, again, because you're borrowing the brand equity of somebody else. How about outside producers? Again, not only are you borrowing the expertise, you're borrowing the outside, the equity of somebody else, right? The relationship with that person is automatically going to put you in another place, right? All right, now how about our live performances? Are we going to just do it by ourselves? Are we going to use loop pedals and go up on stage by ourselves? Are we going to hire musicians? If so, like which musicians? Where are we going to get them from? Right? Or are we going to have any sort of special production? Are we going to use like special sound or special lights? Are we going to have special stage props or pyrotechniques or whatever? These things just don't come out of the sky. You've got to plan for this stuff, right? All right, and then moving on to our merch. How are we going to create our merch and bring that to the marketplace? Are we going to buy a silk screener and do it in our cellar by ourselves? Are we going to use a printing company and just hire someone and say, hey, we need, 100 t-shirts? Or are we going to do what's called merch on demand, where we just basically, have a link to a company, Cafe Press, whatever, that basically is going to make stuff for us on demand, right? These are things that you have to think about. They don't just appear out of nowhere, okay? So very, very important stuff. Just a little bit of a side note. On the note of monetization, okay, because we're just talking about the basic products, your recordings, your merch, and your live performance sets. But did you guys ever think about all the different types of products that you could make? I mean, just, even just one song. Think about all the different things you could do with one song to monetize. You could have the acoustic version, the translation version. You could have the live version. You could have the remix electronic version. You could have the guest feature version. You could have the sped up version, the slowed down version. You could have the extended version. You can have the interactive stems version, where you actually let your fans have the stems to your recording and let them do remixes and things. You can have the instrumental version, the clean version, the vocal down version, where the vocals are in the background and the instrumental is more featured. That's really useful for film and television stuff. And of course, then you can make vinyl. You can have streams. You could do CDs. You could do MP3s. You could do little buttons that you actually put into cards, birthday cards, or you let your fans put them in birthday cards. Or you could have a little button of your song, and make a stuffed animal toy or something of like your mascot or something. I mean, these are all ways that you can monetize. And I'm just talking about your songs. You can also do that with your live sets. You can do that with your merch. There's all kinds of things that you guys can do to bring in money. The next thing I want to talk about really quickly is customer service. And you guys might go, customer service? Isn't that guy that sits behind the desk at like Walmart and like takes complaints? Look, you guys, you're a business and you need to make sure that your fans are happy, right? And when you play a show, hanging out after show to like sign autographs and like to shake somebody's hand will change that person's view of you forever. You know what I mean? So you've got to think about things that you can do. Like, can you send thank you notes? Like literally thank you notes, like on a card to the people that are really, really important, like the super fans. Like the people that are always commenting on your stuff. Could you separate them out from everybody else and like do something really nice for them? Like send them a card and say, hey, thanks for the support. Or send them a shirt with like, that says something like staff on the back or something like that, and your logo on the front, These kind of things make super fans, right? Couple really interesting things that I've seen people do. Like literally, I knew somebody that logged the birthdays of fans, and when they were going into certain cities, they would actually look at the city they would match that up with the fan, and then they'd find if there was any fans with the birthday, and they'd say that on stage, and they were playing stadiums in front of KISS, right? So imagine being at a KISS show and the opening band say, hey, where's Bobby Borg? Hey, Bobby, happy birthday. I mean, come on, man. That would change your life. I knew another band that would roll up in their tour bus after the show to your house and play a private like backyard party, and so where you can invite 20 of your friends. I mean, this shit changes fans, right? And now you might be going, well, what can we do on the DIY level? On the DIY level, man, you could just hang out backstage and shake everybody's hand and sign everybody's autographs, or you could call out people and say, hey, thanks for your support. All of that stuff really matters. Another thing when we're talking about product development really quickly is to think about the benefits of each product. So in other words, don't just sell my music. Here's my music, click on my link. Tell me what the hell that music is going to do for me. What mood is it going to put me in? What kind of energy is it going to give me? If I come to your show, what kind of people are going to be at the show? What kind of people am I going to meet? Right? If I buy your merch, how is it going to make me feel? Am I giving to any cause? Like, is my buying your merch going to help save the rainforest because you donate 10% to the rainforest fund or whatever? Like, sell the benefit. Don't sell the feature. Don't sell the product. And this is very, very important in marketing. Okay, let's move on to pricing real quick. And of course, keep in mind that all of the stuff that's covered in my book, Music Marketing for the DIY Musician, this isn't a sales pitch. I'm just letting you know that I am doing the extent or the overview version. All of the details are there. Okay, and then of course you could go to youtube.com/Bobby Borg, and there's tons of videos there too. So when we talk about pricing and coming up with pricing strategies, you might go, pricing what? We put music on Spotify, right? They set the subscription rates, and they set, and then there's organizations that set the mechanical, rates and things like that. And when we play live shows, like, we got to pay to play and stuff like that. So, so what am I talking about? Well, if you sell vinyl, if you sell CDs, if you sell merch, if you have any kind of fan clubs or anything like that, or any Patreon stuff, or you make products and monetize, then you need to know about pricing. The best way to know about pricing, again, is to, number one, first think about all our previous strategies and research, right? So we talked a little bit about your customers. You can't sell a $50 shirt to if you have a punk rock audience, that skateboards to your shows. That should be obvious, but you would be surprised. What do your competitors sell their merch for? If we were all playing somewhere, let's just say, and somebody else sells their shirts for 20, do we sell it for 20, or do we sell it for 25? Or, so we need to know what our competitors are doing, and we need to know why we're selling it for what we're selling it for. So in other words, don't just say 5 or 10. You have to know your cost of goods. How much did the shirt cost you to make? What's your gross profit margin? You also have to think of things like, what's the brand? You can't sell it too low because then it cheapens the brand, right? You can't sell it too high or no one can afford it. So you've got to think about this stuff, right? But a couple of really good things to do when you're thinking about pricing strategies, to think of other great pricing strategies that have happened in the past. Kid Rock sold his concert tickets for $20 when everybody else was selling concert tickets for $80, and then on the secondary market, $175 and $225. So how did Kid Rock get away with selling his tickets for $20? You know why? Because what he did is he got sponsors to pay for the entire tour. And then basically that $20 was like, sugar on top of the cake, so to speak. And it made him look really good in the eyes of his fans. And he gave a really good, benefit to his fans. And, he was happy because he got paid by the sponsors. The fans were happy because they got a $20 ticket. And the advertisers were happy because they got exposure to a really big tour. Think along these lines, you guys. Another really great strategy. Let's see. Let me see. A couple of really cool ones. Let me think. You guys ever wonder why Spotify prices their subscriptions $9.99, $12.99, $15.99, $4.99? What the hell is this 99 about? Because $4.99 is a lot cheaper than $5, right? And as much as you guys think that's a joke, it's actually true. People will always fall to the lower number. They'll hear 4. They won't hear 5. So they're getting away with charging as much as they possibly can, close to 5 without saying 5. Listen, one time I was selling a house that was way worth $500,000, over $500,000. But they said, don't charge over $500,000. Charge under $499 for the house. Why? Because people will hear 4, right? So how much is the house? $510,000. That's $500,000. $499. Oh, that sounds good. We could afford that, right? So I'm not suggesting that you sell your t-shirts for $9.99 at your merch booth, because that might be a little weird. But just, this is a proven strategy, so just think about it. Another great strategy is what Radiohead did for their In Rainbows record. They offered their the download of their record at what they call to pay what you will, whatever you want. You could pay nothing, you could pay 5, you could pay 10, you could pay 20. Turns out most people paid more than they would have if they put a price tag on it. And that's pretty much when you put it in the hands of other people. There's going to be cheapskates. There's going to always be people that try to get shit for free, right? But normally, if you have a real fan, they're going to say, you know what, man, I love these guys. I want to support them. You know what? Here's $100. Here's $20. That's what happens a lot of times. All right, what else? Another really cool pricing strategy, and that's all I'm going to do for now. You guys can look on my YouTube videos or look at my book. Is basically another good one is, let's see, bundling. People love this, right? Bundling is where you, instead of selling one product, you sell all 3 together. So you might have the CD is $10. The shirt is $10, and the sticker is $2. So that's a total of 22 if you bought them separately. But if you bought them together, it's only 15, let's just say. So then they go, wow, I'm saving money if I buy all of them, so I'll get all of them, right, together. So you might go, well, why don't you just sell them separately? Because if you look at your cost of goods and you still make sure that you're making a profit, everybody wins. You moved merchandise, you made the customer happy, right? And you still made profit, right? So just as long as the bundle is still above your cost of goods, of course, then you have a gross profit margin, GPM. Okay, I mean, there's so many pricing strategies you guys can think of. I want you guys to really be creative with this, because you can really come up with some really ingenious stuff with this to kind of encourage people to get your stuff, right? Because ultimately, you guys, if they're not buying, it's only a freaking hobby, right? And if all you're doing is scrolling all freaking day, all you have is a pen pal club. So you're spending your whole damn day as a pal club manager that's basically working for a hobby. You know what I'm saying? How the hell long can you do that before you go, this is ridiculous, I can't do this anymore? You know what I mean? So we got to be smart about this, So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Please leave questions and, subscribe to the channel so that you guys can get more notifications of when stuff is loading. My name is Bobby Borg, helping musicians turn their art into more successful business. Bobby Borg, also known as Coach. I'm on office hours right now. Peace, love, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.